That newspaper article Jack got so upset about was an obituary, and he finds that no one came to the viewing but him. The room is completely devoid of any identifying features in a moment reminiscent of the infamously artificial mystery show Reunion, because who it is in the coffin is now going to be a major part of Season 4 and won't be answered until its very last scene. Just a couple problems there. Besides the fact that it's not Jack, Sarah, or one other person who will be turning up later, we have absolutely nothing to go on to help us figure out who it is. And more than that, we also have no clue as to how who it is will affect anything else in the show, so it's completely impossible to be invested in the mystery, making that eventual resolution fall completely flat. Jack finds that his prescription for his pills is out, so he forges another one from his father, and when that doesn't work, he does what he does best and storms out like a whiny bitch. So then he gets completely plastered and steals drugs from the hospital. And just to finish this off, the woman from the accident wakes up and reveals that she only crashed her car because she was distracted when she saw Jack about to kill himself. You know, as much as I love seeing Jack like this, and I do, I just can't help but think how much better this all would be if he'd not turned out to be in on Juliet's plan, so we didn't have to go into the story with the notion that he's the hero no matter what, including this stuff. And with that, it's on to the island, and I'll come back for the end of this side of things. Ben and Alex run into Jack's group, and then it's back to the Looking Glass, where Bonnie goes in this whole Nuremberg trial rant about how she has absolute trust in Ben, even though she has no idea what exactly she's doing down here, given that the equipment would keep functioning even if the station was flooded. This is immediately followed by Mikhail killing Greta, and then he shoots Bonnie and is about to finish her off when Desmond shoots him in the heart with a spear. So what we have here is the script for this scene completely at war with the idea that Ben and the others are the good guys of the story, and make no mistake, the show does still want us to believe that. Back with Jack, Matthew Fox puts on a quite embarrassing attempt at portraying pure rage before Ben asks to talk with him for 5 minutes. He says that Naomi is actually working for the quote-unquote bad guys, and if she's allowed to call them, everyone on the island will be killed. Spoiler warning, the guy in charge of this group actually wants nothing more than to get back onto the island after Ben kicked him off.
We're the good guys, Michael.
Well, not even Jack is dumb enough to fall for this crap, so Ben resorts to telling Tom to kill Sayid, Jin, and Bernard unless Jack gives him the phone. And this scene just has no tension at all, because we all know there's no way the show is actually going to kill two major characters and one of the more popular supporting ones like this. Plus there's this stupid line.
Why do you want to leave the island? What is it that you so desperately want to get back to? You have no one. Your father's dead, your wife left you, moved on with another man. Can you just not wait to get back to the hospital? Get back to fixing things?
Oh, I don't know, could it be he's thinking about at least one or two of the other people who do have something to get back to? Of course, I do fully buy that Ben is enough of a sociopath that he wouldn't even consider this. The time runs out and there's gunshots that we all know don't actually mean anything because we don't even get to see it, but at least we then get Jack beating the hell out of Ben, including one bit where it looks like he's going to let up, but then just has to get one more punch in. Kick ass. And then he wrecks it with his pitiful attempt to act tough when he talks to Tom on the walkie-talkie. Why can't I be watching Liam Neeson right now? Bonnie, seeing as Ben just ordered her killed, figures the hell with it, and before she dies, she tells Charlie that the code plays the tune of Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. But who cares about that, because the moment has finally come for Danielle and Alex to meet. Ben is even big enough to tell Alex that Danielle is her mother, and I would find this moving except for how it's utterly out of character for Ben, and an obvious attempt to artificially paint him as the good guy. There's more trying to sell us on the people on the beach being dead like anyone's buying it, and hey, the very next scene reveals that it was all faked. Even the ABC execs didn't seem to think anyone could possibly believe this as they put this very scene in the commercials for the episode. Now that's when you know your big plot twist has failed. Sawyer and Juliet arrive, and so does Hurley, in Roger's van, which runs right over Ryan. Though this is upstaged a bit when Sayid snaps Jason's neck with his legs. Sure, the way it's filmed is completely unconvincing, but that doesn't make it any less awesome. And then the best part of all, when they corner Tom.
Okay. I give up.
That's for taking the kid off the raft.
Yes! Yes! It is so gratifying not only to see the others defeated so thoroughly, but that the victory belongs entirely to people I can actually stand. There's no Jack, Kate, Locke, or Charlie butting their heads in and wrecking this moment. And you know the best part of it all? One bit from the man behind the curtain that I didn't show is Richard recommending to Ben that his father's body and the van be brought back in, to which Ben says they should just leave him out there. Which means that if he hadn't had that moment of complete meaningless spite after his horrible act of mass murder, none of this would have been possible. Suck on it, good guy. Except as you've been seeing this whole time, we're not supposed to see this as a good thing, because the others are the good guys, don't you know? I think you all know by now what my response to that is. Hurley calls Jack with the news while Charlie turns off the jamming equipment. And you gotta love this. Not only does he magically know exactly which part of Good Vibrations the code plays, but he doesn't even need to do any experimenting to see which note each button plays. Was he supposed to be psychic this whole time or something? The TV screen turns on and reveals Penny, but the happiness of the moment is wrecked when she turns out to not know anything about Naomi or any boat. Then Desmond sees that Mikhail's body is gone, and sure enough, John Pertwee Mikhail shows up outside the station with a grenade.
We heard you were alive, Pete.
We just didn't believe it. We saw you get killed by that Chinese Death Star with our own eyes.
Well, that's the thing about your Chinese Death Stars. An hour later, you're alive again.
He then suicide attacks the place and never appears again, but after everything else he's pulled off, there's no way I'm buying that he's dead. And for all we know, Tom Baker McHale is even now planning his revenge.
Rumors of my demise by perforation have been greatly exaggerated.
As the room floods, Charlie manages to write on his hand that the boat isn't Penny's for Desmond to tell everyone else, and then the moment finally arrives, when Charlie, at long last, shuts up. Yes, he's actually dead. He has ceased to be. He is an X-person. And you know, this actually beats out the lone gunman from the X-Files as the most pointless and avoidable death in TV history. Why did Charlie lock himself inside the room when he could have easily locked it from the outside? The only explanation that makes any sense is that he was worried that Desmond's vision of Claire and Aaron getting on a helicopter wouldn't come true if he didn't die. And like I already said, that never happens anyway. So basically, he's dead entirely because God or fate or whatever was giving Desmond his visions of the future just decided to straight up fuck with him that day. It's really kind of hilariously pathetic. Now that the jamming stopped, they've conveniently reached Danielle's radio tower, so she turns it off and Naomi makes the call. Except that's when Locke shows up and throws a knife in her back. And no, I have no idea why he did that, considering that he missed everything about her supposedly being one of the bad guys. Did Walt tell him to do it? Because if so, we never find out why he did that, considering that Naomi will turn out to be completely innocent. And then he pulls a gun on Jack.
Do it, John. Shoot him. Do what you need.
We're the good guys, Michael.
Jack refuses to back down, so Locke just walks away. Why, considering he's clearly decided that he can murder whoever he damn well feels like? Well, we actually do get an answer for that in the Season 4 premiere. And for now, Jack talks to Naomi's boat and they send a rescue team in. And now, back to the other story. Jack's been trying to call someone throughout these scenes, and they finally answer the phone and agree to meet him. And out of the shadows steps Kate, because this isn't a flashback, it's a flash forward. Jack's been flying across the Pacific every weekend for a while trying to get back on the island, and he tries to convince Kate to join him. She refuses because, hey, what would you do? And the season closes on, appropriately enough, an internet meme.
We have to go back.
My score for Through the Looking Glass is 7 out of 10. It's got some real flaws, particularly the ever-present confused morality of the others, but there's plenty of good, and the whole battle on the beach is one of the show's all-time great scenes, even if it's for what the producers clearly consider the wrong reasons. The flash-forward reveal was pretty mind-blowing at the time, and actually made suffering through a whole 2-hour Jack story kinda worth it. Up next, my thoughts on all of Season 3.